a dark apostle. This KITBASH is a testament to the wide-known sentence, everything can be corrupted. Also, you'll find some easy sculpting ideas in this video and how to approach these. This soon-to-be unholiest of holy men is going to become a word bearer, as you guys voted for that, and I shall deliver. After I snapped the parts out of the sprue, I assembled the rough frame of the Armour. I wanted to start with the leg and shoulder armor, as these will be the most defining parts in the end. First, I deloyalized the shoulder and cut away the crux terminators, and after that I sanded it nearly smooth because I had some big things planned for this one. I covered the whole shoulder with a very thin layer of green stuff and smoothened it with my sculpting tool until it was as flat as possible. After that, I tried to press some of these ley lines into it. I wanted to recreate these word-bearer-like patterns one knows from the 30k universe. I definitely recommend not having too much coffee in your system, as this requires some steady hands. One actually has to remove a little bit of the green stuff so it doesn't form these bulges around the ley lines. By the way, this is the first time I've done it myself, and I take you all with me. Don't be discouraged by this, it is really not that hard, and it feels incredibly rewarding. I also recommend using some circle forms when you want to create a nice circle, to press them gently into the green stuff. It seems I haven't paid attention in the kindergarten when they discussed this, so I only remembered it after I was finished. I figured apart from being wholly unholy, the word bearers are also defined by mutations and other gifts of the warp. So I got him an arm of a chaos spawn. I just cut the upper part of it off as it felt a little bit too elongated. I figured that the protection that is covering the leg joint is okay as it is, and I just glued it into place. I again used some green stuff to pose the arms as I wanted, and used my sculpting tool to smoothen the connections to the armor itself. And after that he got his pauldron that I only raised a little bit with some green stuff. By the way, if you made it up until this point, feel free to leave a like and a subscription. As a word bearer and dark apostle, you obviously needed a scepter, so I built one out of the original Chaplain's Crucius? Let's move on. So I built this thing out of the Chaplain's weapon and end of the handle of a Chaos Knight's lance. I just cut it off, sanded it flat, glued these parts together with some Citadel's glue so his scepter is not that short. And no, I won't do a joke now. I thought about what to use as a top of his scepter, and a Chaos Star was the obvious choice. I salvaged this one out of an old world chariot and cut the stuff into a fitting shape. I once again used some green stuff and super glue to hold it in place. I also plan to get into sculpting and creating STLs for 3D printing next year and give these to all of my patrons. For the backside of it, I had the idea of some litanies hanging from it, tying the miniature with all these purity seals together. But for that it was easier to glue the hand to the rest of the arm at first. I just brute forcefully bended this bit into shape so there hangs one litany respectively on each side of the arm. I waited for this to dry, and when I came back I redefined the pauldron with my Nurgle knife. Finally, new ones arrived today, by the way. This will be the last time you will see this. And after that I thought I could add another scripture to the scepter that I salvaged from a Sisters of Battle kit, I guess. Oh, the irony. Just cut the birdie off, send it flying again and shape it so it fit onto the Chaos Scepter. I use these seconds to praise my amazing Patreons who with their support make this show possible. And they are also a good influence on some of these builds. If you also like to have some early work in process shots that I share on my Discord as well as some other behind the scenes material and voting power, feel free to check it out. For the other side of the stuff, as this looked very empty now, I used a hanging skull that I borrowed from this, to be honest, very amazing and word bearer looking like banner, placed it with my tweezers and wait until it was dry. Once it was dry, I went on with another missing piece. Something that burns. Unfortunately, I didn't really had such a thing apart from this Chainrest Champion's candlestick, but I thought I could make this work. I cut the candle holders to the same length and just green stuffed them on top of the Terminator's armor, thinking I could make the green stuff look like dried wax. Which was, to be honest, more of a hassle than I thought. Turns out that it is not that easy making green stuff look like layered dried wax that has dripped from a candle. I spare you this section as it took me way too long to figure that out. After that way too long journey of sculpting wax, I decided to throw together a quick base with some cork and bits out of my bits box. I use this stuff rarely and figured I could do it this time. For his head I was very undecided. On the one hand I wanted to have a bare-headed one, but also the idea of having this masked apostle Terminator was really appealing to me. Then I thought I did a hero in Terminator armor just 2 weeks ago and he had a bare head. Okay, that is switchable, yes, but this time I go for a helmeted head. Spoiler alert, in the end I really didn't. I cut this video and when I saw this frame, I asked my buddy and he also said, yeah, sorry, but the bare-headed one just looked better. But back to the moment. I used an old world Chaos Warriors helmet, cut away the big horns and placed some cable work instead of it. I quickly rolled some green stuff so it looks like a more 40k-ish helmet. After that I placed the helmet into his helmet needing looking like space and started painting. I just slapped on some evil and gory red that I wildly wet blended into each other, at this step only aiming for the brighter color more towards the outer surfaces, so that the inside of it still has this purpley shadow. I carefully added some scarlet and wildwater red on the areas that would catch the light first, assuming this would come from top down. So basically the kneecaps, shoulder and the face. For the trim I used Pro Acryl's dark silver and bronze for the more special bits, like this Chaos Star and some other ornaments. Don't worry about the yellow spot, I know it's quite distracting, also because I just said it now. I just wanted to try AK Interactive's Sunrise Blaze. After these parts were painted, I finally went with a normal brush and picked out some details of the armor with Wild Rider Red. Edge highlighting the breastplate and the helmet is a must. After that I primed the horns, bones, fingernails and everything that's paper with a mix of burnt red and dark rust, with the latter one being the dominating part. For the flames, ley lines and glowing eyes I used a very eerie color mix of a bright yellowish green that goes down to a green bluish like color. I used abyssal turquoise and dark green for the darkest parts of the flame and carefully wet blended lime green and ivory into it where the flame would be the brightest and hottest. In my last video where I kitbashed a Zinchian sorceress, I was told I could use some greens for the flames like this. As I said, I sometimes struggle with just plain blue ones. And I have to say it actually worked out very good. So thank you for pointing that out. I do like this color and it even fits the word bearer I painted some month ago on this channel. For all the papers, bones and claws I used elfic flesh on top of this brown foundation. I like this look way more than having this shaded paper, even though the contrast might be a little hard. And after that I painted the mutated arm with my also trusted recipe of dark purple, Bugman's Glow and elfic flesh, just wet blended on top and into each other. I also used the same mix for the head that was placed after this paint job. Once that was done, I quickly shaded all the metallic parts with Game Wash Black and highlighted them once again with bright silver and light bronze to define them and make them stand out. I worked a little bit of an OSL-like effect onto the Dark Scepter and came to the most important part of a word bearer. The bearing of words. I used a very fine tip brush and ivory for the armor and just black for the purity seals. Painting these small written words like texts onto the miniatures is really an art by itself. This video will have both versions as a reveal shot this time, one with and one without the helmet. And I would love to hear from you which you like more. I am out now and we are going to see each other in the next one.